Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Griefer Hour podcast. I am joined here by Vic. How are you doing, Vic?
We're doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. How was your weekend?
Oh, always good as always. Got to go see the girlfriend.
Yeah, my girlfriend pretty much stayed the entire weekend, and funny enough, I got her playing some video games now.
Dude, let's go.
Yep, she was playing Modern Warfare 2 for one game, and I was trying to teach her how to play.
Okay.
She went like 1 in 16, so she got a kill.
Hey.
So someone out there in the world of Modern Warfare 2 got killed by my girlfriend.
That's a little embarrassing.
Yes.
Honestly.
It's what are you saying?
Honestly, they should uninstall. Your girlfriend's better than them, obviously.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking smack about my girlfriend's COD abilities.
Never.
She went 1 in 16.
Dude.
She got a kill.
That's impressive. That's more wins than the Cleveland Browns got that one year.
That's right. That's right. My girlfriend better than Cleveland Browns. All right. Well, as always, if you want to skip to a different topic in the podcast, the chapters can be found in the slider below. And Vic, I think it's time for your favorite segment.
Oh yeah, it's right up there on Studs and Duds, quick chats. As always, remember, they're in the comments. And of course, our good friend Drizo, always interacting with our podcast. Love you, bud. Thanks for interacting. And he's got 3 questions for us. He's very wanting to know what we think, Alex. Here he is. Question number 1. What moves do you think the Cowboys need to make to return them to that great 90s team? Do you think players or coaches need to move, Alex? I'll let you take first bite of this.
All right, here's how they can, turn in a team from the 90s. First of all, Jerry Jones needs to die. That's the first thing, because he's holding them back. Then the next part is they have to find a way to put Troy Aikman into some cryogenic chamber to make him younger somehow, and he'll be the starting quarterback. And then I think from there, Cowboys need to sign Terrell Owens to be their main wide receiver. Okay. And I think that'll bring them back to 90s era Cowboys football.
You know what? I don't think you're half off. As far as keeping the same players they have now, Jerry Jones needs to get out of the house. Great what he's done for Dallas, but his time has passed. He's like expired milk just sitting up there in the press box. It looks like the team's doing great. They blew the doors off of Minnesota today. Holy hell. But, it's Kirk Cousins in a non-primetime game, so shocker there. But then, I don't know, it looks like their offense is doing okay. Really, it's just management that needs to be fixed. Not even a lot of coaches, more management, even higher.
I would agree.
Which does bring us to our next question, Alex.
Yes, so our next question from Drizo is, how supportive are your girlfriends of your streaming and podcasting? Well, I can say from my end, my girlfriend's very supportive of streaming and podcasting. She actually has a little spot. It's, I have a sleeping bag set up on the floor with a nice pillow that she lays on, and I have a nice blanket for her. And I always ask her if she needs anything. I even bought her a little wine tumbler, so she has her little wine set up, her wine tumbler. And she's also really supportive of the podcast. She always listens in every week.
That's always good. Mine does too. She always leaves a like and at least listens to some of the quick chats and at least our Studs and Duds. That's where she really pays attention. But she always loves letting me come here, and she calls me her little big time star out here in the real world on the YouTubes. How she puts it. I don't stream much. We'll get there eventually. Maybe we'll see. I'll just piggyback off Alex.
There you go. For now, you can be my mod. All right, next question. How long or short does a nap have to be considered a nap? Vic, you take the lead on this one first.
This gets really controversial because there's napping and then there's power napping. Anything over an hour, but shorter than, I would say, 4 hours is a nap. Power nap is 20 to 45-ish minutes would be a power nap. Anything over that, you're in a full-fledged nap. And then anything over 4 hours, you're sleeping. You fell asleep.
I don't disagree with the power nap statement. I was gonna say I think the bare minimum for anything to be considered a nap has got to be 20 minutes. But in terms of what's considered a nap and what's sleeping, I think anything under 2 hours is a nap. Anything after that it's a tad much, I think.
Right. And as a reminder, if anyone else wants to get on this and we'll maybe we'll start putting comments on the screen. Maybe that's what we're going to do to get more people to put their hashtag quick chats in their comments. Down below the video, hit that comment button, put hashtag quick chats so we can filter through them a little easier, and then just put what you want to know. Ask us sports, gaming, ask us questions about us, or, even general questions about napping. We'll answer anything. We will answer any of those. And, moving on to our next topic, an NBA team that is not napping right now. True. The Utah Jazz. I think we kind of mentioned them last week too, but they're still on fire. They are the #1 team in the West right now. Lauri Markkanen leads that team in points per game, and honestly, he's kind of turned into the face of that franchise. Honestly, I mean, I was sure he's got Colin Sexton and, I can't think of his name, but, out of those big trades with the Cavaliers they did, they got those young players, and they're young and just honestly doing great. The real question is this team a legitimate, playoff contender? And I know we've got the next 10 games here. I don't see why they can't go 5-5 over this stretch. Maybe even, I know over the last 10 right now, I believe they're 6-4. I don't see why they can't keep doing that, keep that pace going. The only question I have about Utah, and if they're actually a playoff contender, I feel like every NBA team in the playoffs, they have to have like that guy, guy that can go out there and win them a game. I don't know if the Utah Jazz has the experience or the star potential to just have someone take over, take this team to the promised land. I think playoff deep run is different than playoff contender. And this might be a little weird. Being a playoff contender means you can at least get to the playoffs and maybe win like your first round. I would consider it a playoff contender. I think this team can make an entrance into the playoffs, maybe win that first, matchup, depending on who they play, and they can get to the second round, but I don't think they're going further than that. That part I agree on. As far as player taking over, Lauri Markkanen seems to have done it just fine, and Colin Sexton's like right behind him. I think those two can either trade off or do enough, but it looks like they're getting, rather than having the guy scoring, 40-plus points a game, your Luka Doncic, your Jason Tatum, your Steph Curry, it's more whole team contribution. It takes everyone to get up over this hill, and it seems like that philosophy is working great. You know any other good teams in the NBA by chance? I do, and wouldn't you know it, Alex, it's my Celtics cruising so far through the early season. #1 in the East, a game and a half ahead of your Bucks, unfortunately, but they've won their last 9 straight, and that's a big reason why. Not really flashy wins, but, good wins. Jason Tatum's averaging great points. What I really want to talk about is this win streak and how serious it is. Because they don't have real competition outside of, I think, the Heat and the Nets right at the start of December. And I think this win streak could be as high as like 12 or 13. Hold on. What about the Mavericks? All right, a little tougher. Fair enough. That's their next real close one. But they started this win streak after a loss to the Cavaliers. They beat the Bulls, which is next up on their schedule. Past would have happened on Monday here. I think that's a solid number 10. They've already beaten the Bulls once in this 10-game streak. They're finishing their road series. They just had a great one against the New Orleans Pelicans. I think they can go out and beat Chicago again. But I think as long as the Celtics are healthy, I know Marcus Smart was at least out for this Pelicans game, but I believe he is or should be playing for the Bulls game, and he should be really healthy for this game coming home after a couple of rest days here. I'm just curious, what are you predicting their final record will be by the end of the season? Like seeding, how about this? Predict their seed and their wins-loss. I will take the Celtics at the 2 seed. I think they're going to lose like a tiebreaker or 2 to Milwaukee. I think that's where the difference will be. And I could be completely wrong, but I'll take them at the 2 seed. 82 games. Give me 60-22. Is that fair? With 60 games, wow. All right, I mean, solid. That's a very good record. Very good record. It's nothing like what did the Warriors win that one season? They won a record 72, 73 and 70, 72 and 10. I don't think they're that good. I think they'll drop at least 20 this year. I was iffy on giving them more than 60. That's a bold prediction, and I want to talk about a team that might have the opposite record of that. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Is it my favorite team? It is your favorite team out of the Western Conference. The LA Lakers, they are currently 0-5 on the road at the time of recording. That could get worse. They're 4-5 at home,
And the next 6 games is a road trip starting in December where they play the Bucks, Wizards, Cavs, Raptors, Sixers, and Pistons. Now, that's a tough schedule.
Yeah, I think there might be a win in there sneakily, maybe against like the Pistons or the Cavs. Maybe.
I was thinking the Wizards. Wizards aren't very good either.
But
there's no way they lose all 6 of those games.
Crazier things have happened.
I mean, they are 0-5 currently on the road, so...
Yep, and they've won most of their last couple of home games. At least 3 out of the last 5 home games, I believe they've won.
So they're really righting the ship, is what you're saying.
You know, home court advantage seems to be their best formula for winning, obviously. Obviously, they've played more home games than away games, but this is going to even it out here. I think the real question for this team, Alex, forget this road trip. What milestone are they going to hit first? Are they going to hit 10 wins or 20 losses first? What do you think?
Well, I mean, as it stands now, they would be 4-10.
Yep.
So, like, they're on pace for a 8-20 record.
Yeah, and that's kind of my big thing with bringing up this road trip. Like, they do have a couple of home games right before the road trip starts to finish out the month of November. But this is rough. Like, if they win those 2 home games and then lose these 6 road games, you know, that's 6-16 to start the season.
You know what? I think I'll take the 10 wins.
You'll take the 10 wins. You think LeBron can will them to 10 wins?
I think so, and I also think that early season, a lot of it's figuring it out. And
Fair
as
enough.
bad as Lakers are, I think they'll be better enough to win 6 more games and not lose 10 more games, you know?
Fair enough. I don't know.
So I'll take the 10 wins.
All right, fair enough. You know what? I'm going to take the 20 losses. I'm praying on
Okay.
LeBron's downfall at this point. The Lakers
Absolutely.
have not done anything. I don't trust this road trip at all. I don't care if they win 1 game out of that road trip. That's still 5-15, pretty much.
Well, the Lakers suck really bad, but you know who doesn't suck bad is our special guest for this week, my friend Andrew Sealand. He's a former college RA of mine, a friend of mine. We did a lot of intramural sports together. Andrew, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Alex. How are you doing?
Good. Do you want to tell the viewers kind of your sports background and what you've been up to lately?
Yeah, so my sports background, I've been in sports my entire life. NFL guy, hockey guy, baseball guy, honestly, basketball, anything. I'll watch it. My 2 are football and baseball. I'm very big into those. I'm a diehard Brewers fan. I'm a Packers owner, if you can see that. Yeah, I've always been into sports, following them greatly. All my friends know me as a sports guy, so that's why I'm here today. Currently, I am an on-site supervisor for a construction company, and I run a plow service in the winter with a buddy of mine. So I stay pretty busy from working all the time, playing intramural sports, from softball to basketball to anything else, kickball, hockey. So pretty knowledgeable, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you want to test some of that knowledge today?
Yeah, give me what you got.
All right. Well, first thing I want you to do is we had a quick chat from you last week where you asked, what is the saddest excuse for an NFL franchise? And
Yes.
yeah, I want you to give your take on that since you were the one that asked the question.
Yeah, so I could have easily gone with the Browns for signing Deshaun Watson and whatnot, and could have went with the Lions and their whole ordeal, debacle of their smooth brain coaches and play calls and whatnot. But I'm going to go with a complete curveball and go with the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason for that is what happened to Andrew Luck. This man was drafted in 2012 after they had a bad year. They had Peyton Manning for the longest time and he loved it there. He ended up leaving, so they dropped, obviously, in the standings, moved up in the draft order and picked Andrew Luck. I believe he was number 6. I don't remember what pick he was, honestly, but when they drafted Andrew Luck, they built everything around him and how his game style was. He was their franchise quarterback. The team was starting to go upwards. They were making deep playoffs run. Everyone was invested in them. They were fun to watch. And then all of a sudden, Andrew Luck decided to abruptly retire. And no one knew why. He didn't say really why he wanted to retire other than he just was kind of done playing. He was taking a beating for sure, but when he ended up leaving, they tried to replace him, and the guys they replaced it with just did not work because the guys they were replacing with were trying to be the next Andrew Luck, but that team was designed for Andrew Luck and Andrew Luck only. The next guys up were Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, who was not a bad option, but he was in the later half of his career, and he couldn't move that much. He gave it his all. He was always fun to watch, I'll give him that, but he didn't work. So they went to Carson Wentz, who at that time left the Eagles and was asking for more money, saying, hey, I'm the guy that this team should be built around, but he wasn't the guy. So they got rid of him, and he went to Indianapolis, and he stunk out the place. He was getting booed on the field, off the field, whatnot. So they got rid of him and replaced him with Matt Ryan this year. Matt Ryan has been what people thought he would be. What he did in Atlanta was pretty special. From keeping that team in games with their horrible defense. Obviously, he had that 28-3, which he will always and forever be known for that. And Matt Ryan is a former NFL MVP, which when the Colts got him, everyone's like, okay, this is the guy we need. He has not been the guy they needed. And now they have Jeff Saturday, an ESPN analysis, as their head coach, who supposedly somehow won a game, which blows my mind, and I believe they're winning right now as we speak. So, just the whole way they went about it and trying to replace Andrew Luck in the process, and during that process, they've been shoveling money to all these quarterbacks I just went through to the point where they can't afford an offensive line, so Matt Ryan, who is not a bad quarterback in any means, is getting obliterated every game, throwing picks, having to rush throws, rush his decision-making, and it's because they don't have these pieces. Their defense is wore down. They have their moments, but they wasted all their money towards trying to replace Andrew Luck with someone who is clearly not Andrew Luck. And that's why I think they are the worst franchise right now to watch. And it's not any of the other teams, like the Texans. Everyone knew the Texans weren't going to be good. They're still a very young franchise. But I would have to give it to the Colts because they should be better than what they are. But their front office has been just bundling this whole thing. And that's why.
Yeah, and you mentioned the quarterback situation there. Like Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and most recently Matt Ryan are all guys that are either old or beat up and don't really give them what they need to actually win games in and out. Like, and what you mentioned about that offensive line, I mean, you have a star in Jonathan Taylor, and if you don't give him a line to try and run with, he's going to underperform, and he is way too talented to have his career wasted behind a really bad offensive line.
Yep, and I didn't even touch on Jonathan Taylor. People thought he was going to be a big piece to make this team better, and last year he had an amazing year. MVP-type candidate year. This year he's been hurt, and the line hasn't been able to help, even if he's getting a handoff or going out for a pass. Matt Ryan doesn't have time to do a play-action pass to him or wait for him to get open for a screen pass or a little dump off to him because that line is so atrocious they couldn't stop anybody, honestly. But somehow they're managing right now to beat the Eagles. They're up 13-10 as we speak in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes and change left. So maybe Jeff Saturday is somehow the answer. I still don't think that because you just kind of threw him in there. He was a guy who played for the Colts for many years, so he knows the system. But at the same time, he couldn't manage a high school team. So we'll have to see.
I think he's more of a culture move for them. Like he obviously is a guy that can bring energy and has been around good players in the past. And I think at this point in the season, the Colts realize that he probably won't be the long-term answer, but it's just something to get the fans a little more excited around something new in that franchise that is actually interesting when your quarterback play is bad and your team's underperforming. It's just something to bring a little life to that team. Kind of like, Dan Campbell with the Lions. Like, the Lions aren't good, but people really seem to like Dan Campbell because he seems like a genuine guy and people root for him just because he seems honest and passionate about what he does.
Yeah, and right now they sit at 4-6-1 in the AFC South behind Tennessee. So they could look at a wild card spot, which that isn't unattainable for them, but at the same time, it's a long haul. They're sitting right now at the 10 seed. But they could make it, but if they do make it, I don't see them going far. This team has too many issues that will be exposed against a good playoff team that has been there many of years for now, while the Colts haven't really done much the last couple of years. So that's why I picked the Colts. There's just too much going on, and they're trying to fill these little gaps that are just little fill-ins, and you can't do that with an NFL franchise. You cannot just fill little gaps. You gotta do a whole rehaul if something goes wrong, which they messed us up from the second Andrew Luck retired, which was very abrupt, and that didn't help them. But the fact that they just kept trying to replace him and not maintaining other parts of the team just shows that they didn't know what they were doing from day one with this whole scenario. And it sucks that Andrew Luck retired because he was fun to watch, but that's why they just don't know what they're doing. They need to remove their heads from their asses.
Exactly. So I know the Colts, we talked about some bad quarterback play, and I heard that you want to go through roasting every single quarterback in the NFL and kind of go by division here, one at a time.
Yeah, and people love it just hearing trash talk about other quarterbacks and their own players, because that really gets people's attention, even though they could argue X, Y, Z about what I'm about to drop on all these quarterbacks. But I think it's fun because people just look at them as these glorious players, but they can also break a team, as we saw with the Colts, for example. So, yeah, I thought it would be a kind of fun and interesting segment for you guys to have your fans listen to, and something a little different than what you guys have done.
All right. Well, you ready to get rolling through this?
Yeah, I'll give it my best shot, and let's see how many people I piss off along the way, because this is going to be fun.
All right. So let's start with the AFC East here. Give it to me.
All right, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. You can only beat Patrick Mahomes when it's in the regular season. Prime example, last year, 13 seconds left on the clock, and your team bundled it for you. So, yeah, Josh Allen, great job. Miami Dolphins, Tua. Thank God you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, because nobody else would be able to catch up to your underthrown or overthrown balls. And your team's only good when you don't die in a game. New England Patriots, Mac Jones, basically a Tom Brady replacement. Bailey Zappi has more touchdowns than you this year. 5 touchdowns in 4 games, while you have 4 touchdowns in 6 games. So, yeah, you're not the guy there. Zach Wilson, New York Jets. Spend more time practicing than more time with your friend's mom in the bed. You might be as overrated as Joe Flacco one day. Hope to God, maybe not.
Yeah, that division has a lot of bad quarterbacks with Mac Jones and Zach Wilson, but let's hear about the AFC North.
AFC North, Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. This is a running back who wants quarterback money and hasn't proved himself yet this year. He's had multiple leads that he has blown and multiple opportunities to put games away or win games, and has squandered all of those. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. Career record of 17-17-1. He is overrated. He's had a really good year last year. He's had a couple injuries, but still overrated. Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson. You guys overpaid greatly for this guy. Your franchise has only 17 wins total in the playoffs, so this guy has more cases against him at 25 plus and counting still for the massage thing, so good luck with that. Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenny Pickett. Small hands, big ego. This guy has 8 interceptions to 2 touchdowns. Not the answer.
Not at all. And I don't know. I'm kind of heated by your Joe Burrow slander because I really like him. All right, AFC South.
Houston, Texans. David Mills. Do you think with that long ass neck of his, he would be able to see the guys he's throwing to when he's not throwing an interception? Indianapolis Colts, Matt Ryan. Like I said earlier, not Andrew Luck. You should have retired after 28-3. Your career is pretty much over after that. And also, you guys have Big Dick Nick on your team, and you haven't used him once, so you guys are a joke. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. And all 6 losses you guys have this year, which I believe they have 7 now, they've lost by 1 score or less, and he's had the opportunity to show why he's the guy, and he squandered all of them. He's not the guy for you. Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill. It's pretty easy to hand off the ball to Derrick Henry every time when you don't have to throw the ball over 10 yards. Your team is the worst 7-win team this year.
Very true. And honestly, they should really just have Malik Willis out there. All right, AFC West, the division that was supposed to be really good this year.
Yep, I would agree with that. Everyone is hyped up about this division, and they have just been not that fun to watch, and this is why. Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson. This is a system quarterback that you overpaid for. Should have ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Maybe you should ride the bench more instead of saying Broncos country, let's ride. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. If you don't have the refs helping you out, you have some bullshit play that somehow works that you pull out of your ass every time. LA Chargers, Justin Herbert, just like Joe Burrow, has not had a career record over 500. He's 20, 21, and 1. Only good on 4th down plays somehow. Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr. Best receiver in the game in Devontae Adams, and you are ruining his career. You are definitely not what they need for this franchise. This team is just garbage with you at the head.
Yeah, Derek Carr is very, I don't want to say overrated. I mean, the man's crying in press conferences because this team sucks so bad, and you can point the finger at Josh McDaniels, but Carr, come on, you gotta start making plays yourself.
Yeah, and he can't finish a game to save his life. How many double-digit leads have they had this year? 3, 4, and he just has squandered it. It's not that hard to hold on to a lead, especially in the 4th quarter.
All right, we're done with the AFC, so let's go to the NFC, starting with the NFC East, division that we are kind of surprised that they're doing this well this year.
Yeah, this division has been interesting to watch, from the Cowboys to the Eagles, who have just kind of shocked the world right now, and the Giants, who are just kind of a sleeper team. And it's been fun to watch. Normally this division is known for being atrocious. Remember a couple years ago, this division, they almost had whoever won that division not have a winning record and make the playoffs, and they would have hosted a home game, which would have been a joke for the NFL, and it kind of is. So I'm going to just jump right into it and start with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, aka the Leprechaun, has gotten you 4 of your 6 wins this year. He's a much better game manager than Dak Prescott, as seen last year in the playoffs when Dak decided to run up the middle and then try to clock it. Horrible game manager. New York Giants, Daniel Jones. Where do I start with this guy? He can run very fast, but he can't hold on to the ball to save his life. He is a fumbling machine, and he throws picks left and right. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Literally any quarterback in this league couldn't mess up what this team has with the weapons and whatnot, and he's had his moments to shine, but he's also had his moments where he's showing that, yeah, I played for Alabama and played crappy teams every other week. Washington Commies, or Commanders you want to call them, Carson Wentz. Taylor Heineke is a much better quarterback than you, and he's a better bag boy than you'll ever hope to be one day. Fuck you, Dan Schneider. You are a piece of crap.
Good. Yeah, Carson Wentz has been terrible, and even proves your point further about how the Colts are dumb for even giving him a chance.
Yeah, he's slowly working his way around the league like Marcus Mariota. They're honestly kind of the horrors of the league, just working away.
Carson Wentz is getting passed around more than Lana Rhodes.
Yeah, and Dan Schneider would probably like that.
Probably. All right, NFC North.
Ooh, this is a fun division because, man, I'm a Packers fan, so I follow this division very well, and I know you do too. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields. He is slowly getting to where he needs to be and being the best quarterback the Bears have had in years, but this franchise and that front management will mess us up, and we've already seen a prime example of that by them getting rid of their two best defenders they have. So you can score 35 a game, but you're going to give up 40. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. trying to play like it was the good old days in LA, but you keep goofing up because you're Jared Goof. Aaron Rodgers, where do I start with this man? You wouldn't be as washed up as you are right now if you'd actually show up to practice with your new receivers and get a haircut, you penguin-looking ass. Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, only good during 1 o'clock games. Literally any other game we throw him in, primetime games, 3 o'clock games. We don't know who you are, what you've done with Kirk, but yeah, still not what you need to be.
It's pretty sad that Kirk Cousins is by far the best quarterback in this division right now.
Yeah, I would say Justin Fields isn't bad either, but he's on a bad team, and Kirk Cousins is only good when it's 12 o'clock, which is sad because I looked at their schedule and they still have 5 more games at 12 o'clock. So good luck, Minnesota fans. It's going to be another heartbreak.
Of course. All right, moving to a pretty bad division, the NFC South.
Oh, where do I start with this division? Atlanta Falcons, Marcus Mariota, just old. He's been around the league and he thinks he can just throw the ball wherever, and he's not a good game manager. Carolina Panthers, Baker Mayfield, what a joke. This guy is washed up and overrated. At home with Baker Mayfield, that's where he belongs. He doesn't belong in the field. He belongs at home. New Orleans Saints, Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, turnover machine. Literally, that's all I have to say about him. Just god-awful. Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Was this really worth leaving your wife for? Maybe, because the refs are going to help you and you're going to cheat somehow because that's what you do your whole entire career.
Tom Brady's going to make the playoffs off some like bullshit technicality or barely squeaking by in some wild card game later on. So it's
some lucky play's going to happen. They should have lost last week to Seattle, but Geno Smith fumbled the ball, and if he didn't do that, Seattle would have won the game.
All right, NFC West. This division was supposed to be pretty good with the defending Super Bowl champions in it.
Let's run into it. Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Stop playing Call of Duty. You, one, are probably bad at that as you are in the NFL. You're a turnover machine during critical drives, and you're short as hell. I'm surprised you could even see over the lineman. LA Rams, Matthew Stafford. Like Brady, you should have retired after winning a Super Bowl because you're just old and pathetic to watch right now, and I would hate to be a Rams fan. San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, you're gorgeous looking, so is Christian McCaffrey, and he's a better quarterback than you. We've already seen that. You can't even throw the ball 15 yards downfield. Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith. Cheaper but better Russell Wilson. He's a game manager, and don't write back because he's the guy you need.
The Seahawks definitely won that trade, sending Russell Wilson to Denver.
Signing Russell Wilson, who knows, maybe this is just a bad first year for him, but obviously worked for Seattle because Geno has been the answer. He's had a couple mess-ups, but he's been clutch when they need him. He can run. He's turned back the clock on his age. He doesn't even look like, what is he, like 30 or something? He looks like he's fresh out of college, looking better than most of these starting quarterbacks I just went through.
Well, I appreciate you coming on to give your little Thanksgiving roast of all these quarterbacks. I think that's pretty fitting for this week.
Definitely.
All right, Vic and I are gonna move on to the Thursday Night Football review, talking about the Titans and Packers. But Andrew, stick around, and we're gonna have you do studs and duds towards the end of the podcast.
Awesome, sounds good.
All right, we'll see you then.
See you then.
So as always, we're gonna start with our Thursday Night Football review, which this past week was the Titans versus Packers. The final score for this game was 27-17 Titans.
Crazy game.
I predicted 21-14 Packers victory. Vic, you predicted 28-24 Titans. You were almost spot on. It's just you gave the Packers a little too much confidence.
You know, they had that great win against the Cowboys, and, you know, I thought maybe they'd found something to build on. You know, Christian Watson had another great game. Pretty much the entire offense for the Packers here, outside of the field goal. Aaron Rodgers has just been an absolute dud this year. I think he's completely off any MVP board at this point in time, with a horrible, what's his record, Alex? I think you know better than I do.
the Packers record right now.
Yeah.
It's 4-7.
4-7.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
It's horrible. I mean, they're barely above the Chicago Bears at 3-8, right?
Yep. And actually the Lions are above them now.
Yep.
After this week. The
After
Lions are
crazy
4-6
game against the Giants.
Yes. So technically the Lions are second in the NFC North.
Still just outside of the playoff spot, I do believe, but making a legit chance at it.
Yeah. You know, those Lions are gonna bite some kneecaps, right?
They are biting lots of kneecaps, and honestly, I don't know if you heard Dan Campbell's post-game speech, but it inspired me. And while I may be a curse to the damn Eagles after dropping that game to the Commanders, and another ugly one today against the Colts, they magically won. I'll just go ahead and curse the Lions real quick. Let's go Lions.
Let's go Lions. Big Lions guy now. One thing I wanted to mention before we moved on is Andrew talked to me before we started. He was actually at this Titans-Packers game.
Oh, yeah?
And he said that at one point the fans, like the Packer fans, booed the team off the field.
Oh, yeah.
And they also were chanting to, like, put Jordan Love in the game. That's how bad it was.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. I believe they booed him off at halftime and booed them off after the game.
I mean, they deserved it.
I mean, when everyone's an owner in the stands, I think they all get an opinion. And honestly, they should have listened. Honestly, put Love in.
At this point, just do it. Give Rodgers some phantom thumb injury that he's out for, like, 3 weeks.
Like a shoulder, honestly. Make it a little worse.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if the Packers are, like, mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, there's absolutely no way that Rodgers is going to take another snap this season.
By some miracle of God, he'll end up like what? By some miracle, he'll make the playoffs, right? Because that's just who he is. He'll make it as like a 7 seed, right?
Yep.
That'll be our luck to watch that.
I really don't think the Packers are making the playoffs, to be honest. I don't see any possible way at this point.
Some luck and a lot of LSD out of Aaron Rodgers and maybe a Madden game or two.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will see him in the playoffs. Probably not us.
Well, unfortunately, though, Packers are not going to catch their NFC North leader, which is the Vikings. But the Vikings did make it a little bit closer this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to transition to our 5:30 great games of the week review, where the Cowboys absolutely dominated the Vikings. No offense to Lana Rhodes. The score was 40-3, and it's bad. It's really bad. I guess technically I got it right. I predicted 27-24, thinking it was going to be some close game. You predicted 24-21 Vikings. We were both. I mean, I got the win, but like, it doesn't feel like a win. Yeah, it was way off. I underestimated the Cowboys greatly.
Yeah, honestly, I did too. I thought they were gonna, just be reeling in their, thoughts after that terrible loss to the Packers. But nope, they said, nope, fuck you. We'll just go beat your team instead. And heading into Thanksgiving, I should have known the Cowboys were gonna do okay. Yeah, you're right, Alex. I did give Kirk too much credit. I forgot it was a 3:00 game, and sure enough, he played like 3:00 Kirk. And completely blew this game for the Vikings. Completely collapsed. He had this great 8-1 season going for him. He's now 8-2. I forget how many more primetime games they have this season. I think it's only like 2 or 3. Most of the games are noon this year, so they probably have a couple of wins for him. Kind of seems like the NFL's rigged. Question mark. Speaking of rigged, it seems like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just always find that last-second touchdown to beat the Chargers. Alex. Final score of Sunday night's game, 30-27. Finally reached that in the last 30 seconds of the game on a Travis Kelce touchdown from Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy how they just always narrowly beat the Chargers in big divisional games, huh?
It just seems like the Chiefs always have the Chargers number, and this just seems to be a reoccurring theme. I don't put it past Patrick Mahomes. He's turning into the like Aaron Rodgers prime, where it's like, oh, you gave him too much time. That's kind of what Mahomes is like.
Pretty much. Only needed 13 seconds that one game, right?
That's right.
No offense to Josh Allen, of course.
Right. Respectfully.
You are actually a little closer. I thought there was going to be a little more firepower to this one. There wasn't. You had a nice little 35-33 line going into this.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't too
was
far off.
pretty close. Kind of just shift the score up roughly 6 points, but
Not too bad.
I just wonder, do you think people are going to start saying Herbert is overrated, or do you think it's more of an injury thing with him?
I feel like he's kind of this season he's kind of struggled with that shoulder rib kind of question. But I think it's just a little bit of overrated. Not too bad. I mean, I believe his career record now is 20, 22, and 1. If he had won this game like I kind of thought he might have, he would have gotten back to 500 as far as a career.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, he did not. So I expect 2 wins out of him, and then probably another loss, and then I believe he's never had a winning career record. He's always been either 500 or at least 1 game under.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert not really putting up much of a threat to the Chiefs' defense, but you know where I'm going with this. It is Thursday. We're gonna talk about that triple threat Thursday. Am I right?
Honestly, these games all look really good, and they're some of the more higher rated ones than any of the Sunday games. Starting off with a team that has already won on Detroit's field this week. Not the Lions, because they played away this week. The Bills versus the Lions on Thanksgiving to kick it off around noon. The Bills, 8.5-point favorites here, Alex. Bills probably extending their stay there. It's one of the reasons they had their game moved out of Buffalo after all that snow. They got to play here anyway, so they probably rented out a hotel for the whole week and they'll be here. Looking at a 54 quality, not a very important game at 25, but it is an overall 40, which is one of the higher games, surprisingly enough, for all of...
I have a news alert for you.
Oh.
I just checked the 538 website because I was like, if the Lions won, I wonder if it'll impact the 538 ratings.
Ooh.
So actually now the game is a 66 quality, 47 importance with a 57 overall. So definitely got a bump.
That does change everything then. This game is honestly going to be really interesting. Did the points change at all?
Well, the Bills are still favored to win,
okay,
but the Lions went from a 22% chance of winning to a 26% chance of winning.
That's not bad. They did beat Saquon Barkley, and the Giants today absolutely shut him down. I'm going to keep the Bills. I'm not sure I like that point difference, though. They did beat up on a Browns team today. But I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to say they put up a decent fight. Give me the Bills 28-24.
Close game.
It is. A lot after all those blowouts I predicted wrong, I've got to bring myself back to reality here.
You know what? I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to take the Lions in this game.
You know what? Not crazy after I just said go Lions, a couple minutes ago. Just trying to curse teams out here and give myself wins, but, fair enough.
I know that the Giants are not considered one of the best teams in the NFL. They have a decent record, but the Lions did beat them.
They did.
This game must be at home if it's Bills at Lions, so give me the Lions. 24-17.
Wow.
I think Josh Allen is going to struggle. He is leading the league in interceptions. I know Lions defense isn't known to be good at anything, but I don't know. I'm rooting for this team. I'm gonna be a bandwagon Lions fan this upcoming Thursday. So sue me.
And of course, somebody that always has to play on Thanksgiving here at least. The Giants and the Cowboys at Dallas. Cowboys are 11-point favorites after that dominating win against the Vikings. 77 quality, Alex, 40 importance, 59 overall. This is the 4 o'clock game, so as soon as the Bills beat the Lions, just going to keep saying that, give me the Cowboys 35-20.
Respectable blowout.
It's at home. The Cowboys always show up for Thanksgiving. It's got to happen, right?
You would think. I will also go with the Cowboys. I don't think it'll be quite that much of a blowout. I'm going to say Cowboys are going to win this game 28-21.
Understandable. Fair enough.
I just don't see the Cowboys. I mean, they did put up 40 against the Vikings.
It was Kirk in, a primetime game. Everyone was watching him. Shocker.
So I'll just take 21-28. 1 touchdown difference. Big division rivalry game. Gotta keep it kind of close.
Fair enough. Which, speaking of Kirk, he plays another primetime game this week. He has the Thursday night game on Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone will be at dinner and maybe he can perform. He is a 3-point favorite against my Patriots. 69 quality, 59 importance. There are a lot of playoff implications here. And a 64 overall score. I believe the highest this week for 538. Everyone in the AFC East is currently in the playoffs for the NFL. At least they were, depending on some outcomes here. But I think they still are, which is interesting. It's only happened one other time in football, Alex, where 4 teams from the same division have made the playoffs. Barring a collapse from the Jets, I believe all the teams in the AFC East can make the playoffs this year. They're all looking pretty good. Patriots defense is really keeping them in games. I know they've lost a couple bad ones, but looks like Belichick's have coached them up. They had a great bye week, and I think they're ready for the next half of the season. Give me the Patriots, and give them to me. I think they can squeak out 20 points, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, or at least couple field goal kicking here. I think they can do it. And then give me the Vikings at 14. I think that's fair. Patriots 20-14.
Well, I have to agree. I think the Patriots are going to win this game, even though the Vikings are the favorite. Kirk Cousins just doesn't know how to play football if it's not noon. So
yep, exactly.
Not much to say. I mean, I agree with a lot of your points here. I'm going to take the Patriots. I know they don't always get the end zone, so they're definitely going to kick a couple field goals. Give me the Patriots 24-20.
Okay, fair enough.
I think they're going to score a field goal at some point, and we won't have a nice little 7-14, 21-28 kind of score.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Speaking of all the AFC East teams making it and it being a record, another record that happened today, Cordero Patterson returned his 9th kickoff for a touchdown, 103 yards for a touchdown today, Alex. That is a new NFL record.
Oh, wow.
And another thing, I think somebody said this is the longest the NFL has gone without a punt return being returned for a touchdown until today when Marcus Jones, a rookie for the Patriots, won the game on an 84-yard punt return for a touchdown.
I'm really surprised it did take this long, though.
It did. It was like a couple hundred punts, man. I think it was close to 1,000 or something punts through the first couple of weeks. No one returned a touchdown until today. Crazy enough.
That is pretty crazy.
This does bring us back to our new segment, NFL Power Rankings. Alex gave his last week. Giving mine this week. I have a controversial number 5. Alex has already hit me with this one. I'm putting them at number 5. Putting the Patriots at number 5 because of their big win today. And they're still a playoff team. All right? I think that's fair. I'm putting them there purely because of that. They showed they're scrappy. Their defense is honestly one of the better ones in the NFL right now. And I think they're only going to keep the offense in it here from here on out to the end of the season. And I think that offense has a couple steps they can take. And they have a pretty decent end of the year schedule. And I think they can make a legitimate playoff push and be a solid playoff contender. And that's really the only reason they're here at 5. All right? Fair enough?
We'll talk about it. We'll get there. We'll get there.
At number 4, I do have the Bills. 7-3, big bounce back win. They're going to get a great win on Thursday here. Hopefully take the division back. And then I have a kind of interesting. I kind of shook up the top 3 here. I do have the Eagles at 9-1. And after another close win here against the Colts, 17-16, I believe the final score was. It looked kind of iffy there. Defense seems to have taken a step back. I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles. I don't know if it's because I hyped them up and, I'm just a curse to every team I touch. Eagles have looked to taking a step back, and I hope they can take a step forward here. But at number 2, I have the Chiefs. They've looked pretty dominant over their last couple of games, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with them. Their offense keeps flowing. Patrick Mahomes keeps being that guy. And at number 1, Alex, I hate to do it, and this is one of the biggest reasons the Vikings aren't at number 5. The Cowboys at number 1, 40 points. this last week. Honestly, dominant both sides of the football. That defense is scary to play against. That offense is gelling really well. Now that Tony Pollard has a role over Zeke, it seems they're more efficient when it comes to running and passing the ball. I hate to do it, but the Cowboys look to be a solid team this year, and they make the number 1 ranking after just decimating the Vikings today.
The Cowboys pick at number 1 is forgivable. Having them in the top 5 is forgivable. But what is not forgivable is you having the Patriots at number 5 on this list when there are at least like 5 other teams that are better than the Patriots.
You know, I didn't shit on your list. Could you just let me have this? This one little thing. That's all I ask.
This is the only thing that the Patriots have clinging for them is you putting them at number 5 on your power rankings.
Mac Jones had an efficient day. He was like 23 of 27 for like 250 yards. No turnovers. He had a great day. He was playing behind a patchwork O-line.
Hey, I have a question. The only reason the Patriots won was because of that punt return for a touchdown. So you're telling me that Mac Jones' great day ended up with 3 points.
Behind a patchwork offensive line where they couldn't run the ball in a windy day where they missed 2 field goals? Yeah, I think that...
So you're telling me the Patriots are better than the Titans, the Ravens, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and even the Vikings, even after getting blown out by the Cowboys?
I'll give you the Titans, Dolphins, and Vikings. I will not take this Ravens and 49ers slander. The Ravens have a running back at quarterback and almost lost to Carolina today. Their game was 3-3 going into the 4th, and Lamar Jackson benefited from a fumble recovery from his defense to bail him out to get him a touchdown. So yeah, give me the Patriots over the Ravens.
Right.
49ers, thank God they traded for Christian McCaffrey, otherwise their season be in fucking shambles. Sorry. It'd be in darn shambles. Jimmy G has been mediocre at quarterback. Give me Mac Jones over Jimmy G. Love it. Kirk Cousins in primetime? Yeah. He won 8 games. Great. They're going to beat him on Thursday. We both just said they beat Kirk on Sunday. Honestly, you know what? I hope they flex the game. Give me the Bills at night. Give me the Patriots during the day. Give me 12 o'clock Kirk.
God.
Patriots still win.
God.
Honestly. I'll give you the Dolphins. The Dolphins have been amazing this year. Tua has taken a real step. Titans, I'm a little scared of Derrick Henry, not so much Ryan Tannehill. I think we can cover their rookie wide receivers, but I'm a little scared of Derrick Henry doing whatever he wants pretty much every other week. But yeah, you know, a little moral victory for the Patriots. It was a great win today, great defensive special teams battle there, especially with all the wind in New England today. I think it was like 10-mile-an-hour winds. Hard to kick.
All right. Well, you remember this moment, you know, week 11? Is this week 11, I think? But you remember this week 11 power rankings, and you just hold on to that and cherish it. Because my power rankings come out next week, and barring some unforeseen miracle with the Patriots, they are not going to be in my top 5.
They beat the Vikings. I want them on there at 5, just so we're clear.
If they beat the Vikings, then there you go. I would definitely consider it then. Anyway, moving on from football, we're going to go to our gaming section of the podcast. We're starting off with newly released Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The game's out now. The review embargo is gone. And some of the initial reviews have been kind of mixed, honestly. A lot of people like what they've done to expand the game from Legends of Arceus, but apparently it's not running very well on Switch. It struggles to hit 30 frames per second a lot of times, which is pretty abysmal.
There have been more problems with Violet than Scarlet I have seen. There is that one little like intro like credit scene where they're like running at like 3 FPS in the little school there. But yeah, it's a cutscene. Who cares? It's not physical gameplay.
Yeah, I guess the word I've heard thrown around is the game doesn't feel completely polished. Textures clipping in and out, unstable frame rates.
I feel like that's always been a problem with Pokemon games, though, really, realistically, especially at launch.
Yeah, I just think that for a game like this that everyone was expecting to take what Legends of Arceus did and just fully flush it out, to have all these issues on launch, I mean, at some point you have to ask, is this game running on the right engine? Like, do they need to rework some things to make it be more stable?
They probably do. I trust Nintendo to make a patch before Activision does for Modern Warfare 2.
We've had a lot of issues with Modern Warfare 2.
Oh my goodness, where does it end? I mean, multiplayer doesn't really work, especially in parties over 3. They tweeted out the other day, on Xbox specifically. So, great job, PlayStation. Honestly, it looks like Warzone's the only thing that works with it. DMZ lags out. Multiplayer doesn't kill you in. Warzone's the only thing that works with the game. Shocker.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird how multiplayer had no issues until Warzone launched? It's almost like they want us to buy the Battle Pass and play Warzone and
Pretty much
watch Tim and try and do everything he does and hashtag COD partner.
Hashtag COD partner, you're right. Party chat system still seems to have its issues as well, as far as still talking to your friends, even if you do get into a party. Seems like you've got to relaunch the game and then party chat works at least.
Something that's not rough, though, is Black Friday coming up. We got some deals to talk about from some of the major gaming industry leaders. I'm going to start with Xbox here. So the Series S is going to be $50 off for Black Friday, which is a pretty big discount considering the console's normally, what, $300? I think, retail? So pretty good, $250 for a next-gen console that can run all those new games.
Oh yeah, at least the ones that work.
Right, the ones that work. I took a look at some of the games that they have on sale. Gotham Knights, a game that no one seems to really care about. Men 23. Cold War is on sale. I mean, imagine playing Cold War in 2022, am I right? Battlefield 2042 is on sale. And wouldn't you know, Halo Infinite is on sale.
Wow. Halo Infinite's free to play. Crazy. Who would have thought?
No,
at least for Game Pass users.
For Game Pass users, correct. So, for all those people out there that don't have Game Pass and really are itching to play Halo Infinite, this is your time to shine. Moving to PlayStation, some of their deals. PlayStation Plus is 25% off when you buy a year's worth of it. Comparing this to the Xbox lineup, Spider-Man Miles Morales is 60% off.
Ooh.
FIFA 23 is 40% off. The new cat game Stray is 20% off.
Pretty good.
Last of Us Part 1 Remastered is 29% off. And Cyberpunk is 50% off. So, I mean, honestly, when you compare that to what Xbox is offering, it's super close, am I right?
Well, if I had PlayStation, I'd consider Cyberpunk. 50% off, that's a great deal, honestly.
That is a very good deal.
It's definitely been fixed since launch, and the little bit I played it on Xbox looks like a really good game, especially since it's been fixed.
If I had to buy one game, I'd probably get Spider-Man Miles Morales. That game is fun.
Do you need the? Is that its own game, or is that like an expansion for the first Spider-Man game Sony released?
It's its own separate game.
Okay. That's what I was always curious about, but I wasn't a PlayStation user.
Yeah, it came out right around the time that the PlayStation 5 launched, and people weren't sure if it was going to be a PS5 exclusive, but it wasn't. But it was its own separate game.
And honestly, I believe kind of rounds out the podcast here, Alex. We're getting ready to get to the end, and we're heading into our last and final segment here, Studs and Duds. I believe I went first last week. Would you like to start us off?
So I guess I'm going to start with my stud. This guy went off today. He had a pretty good day and good day on my fantasy team. I'm going to go with Tony Pollard.
That was mine.
That was yours? Well, too bad. I went first, so you're going to have to find a new one. Tony Pollard had 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yep.
I'm not sure how many yards he had.
6 receptions for 109 yards and 80 rushing yards on 15 attempts.
Mm-hmm. And I think this was a game that basically said to Jerry Jones, hey, you know that Zeke guy? Take him out. I am the new number 1 running back on this team. I'm going to go to my dud now, and I can almost guarantee that you're not going to take the stud.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Qatar football team in the World Cup.
Really?
Qatar's hosting the World Cup this year, right?
Yep, they sure are.
And in the history of the World Cup, the hosting team has never lost their first game.
Wow.
And today they lost.
Wow. That is wild. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Pretty embarrassing. They lost 2-0. There's been a lot of issues at the World Cup. People are not happy that beer is not being sold. Hot dogs are not being sold. There's been reporters that have been attacked at the World Cup.
That's a little worse.
But overall, just an L for Qatar and their football team.
Fair enough. Starting off with my dud, and you're right, I didn't take guitar. I took Modern Warfare 2 with all of its problems. Alex, it was frustrating enough for me to hop off of my Xbox and boot up my Switch, and this may come as a shocker to you. I bought Scarlet.
Oh.
That's how bad Modern Warfare 2 was. And honestly, I haven't had any problems with Scarlet. I haven't experienced any of the problems. And honestly, they should probably be my stud. More fun than playing Modern Warfare 2, mainly because I can get in the game. Party doesn't work. The game modes I want to play don't work. The game mode I don't want to play does work. And then I'm going to pick a stud here. Honestly, I had Tony Pollard. He looks like he had a great game. He led this team in receiving yards. I'm going to go with Jamal Williams. He had 3 touchdowns today and 80 yards on 17 carries. It looks like he's really taken over that Detroit backfield and is set up to look like he's going to have another great day against the Bills. Unfortunately, he probably will lose. 3 touchdowns today, hat trick on the ground. Can't deny the man that. He looked really great and has really stepped into that lead back role and really kicked DeAndre Swift out.
Yep, for sure. All right, well, I'm going to bring Andrew back here to give his studs and duds for the week. Yes, Andrew, what do you have for us?
So my stud for the week is Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. That kid played his heart out this past weekend from just absolutely annihilating Tennessee. Tennessee actually has a pretty good defense this year. Obviously, they're one of the best offenses, but Spencer Rattler threw for 438 yards and 6 touchdowns against the Volunteers this past weekend in an absolute blowout, 63-38 game, and he upset the number 5 team in the country who was looking to make a playoff run, and he just squandered it. They just annihilated Tennessee, gave Tennessee no hope for the playoffs now because they're an unranked team and he played his ass off. So that's why he's my stud this week. And then my dud for the week, hate to say it, Aaron Rodgers. And the reason for that is just what he's been doing this year. The last 2 years he had an MVP season, and the main reason for that was just he had Davante Adams. Yes, it sucks losing Davante Adams, but the biggest reason he's my dud is his attitude. His attitude during these games have just been atrocious, and we've seen it throughout the years where he's throwing up his hands, yelling at receivers and other offensive players. Dude, you are the quarterback of this team. You're supposed to be a leader. If you look early on in his career, he was taking blame for things, giving guys breaks. Oh, that's all right, get the next one. And you'll see other quarterbacks like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, you can get mad a little, but it's like every other play. I was at the game on Thursday, and he was throwing up his hands every other play, and he was missing receivers who were open by 15 yards, and he was overthrowing them, underthrowing them, and it's because of his attitude. He didn't show up to OTAs this year when he knew he had rookie quarterbacks or wide receivers. If you're going to have new guys come in, you should be there first to talk with them, go through reps, go through plays with them. And you didn't do that, and it's showing, and your team's going to miss the playoffs now because you decided to go do whatever loose-dialect drugs you were doing or whatever, getting that weird-ass haircut of yours. And this is why. It's showing you decided not to commit to this team and to yourself. So that's why he's my dud, is his piss-poor attitude.
All right. And I want to thank you again for coming on the podcast this week. It was fun to have you on here, giving your opinion on some football topics.
Yeah, it was great being on here. I thank you for having me here. What you guys have been doing has been amazing. It's fun to listen to, fun to watch on YouTube. If you guys are looking for some more content, I run a trash sports meme page. It's called Trash Ball Memes. Check that out. We try and post throughout the week about different sports, NFL, MLB, NBA. Check it out if you're looking for something different and unique. That's what we've been doing there, but I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk soon, all right?
Will do. Take care, Alex.
And I think that kind of wraps up the podcast. So I just want to say thank you guys for interacting with the podcast. If you're listening, just like, subscribe, leave a comment. We really appreciate it. And make sure to put something special in the comments. What is that, Vic?
Our hashtag quick chats. Hashtag quick chat, yep. And ask us anything you want.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the podcast. We'll see you next week. And thank you for tuning in to the Griefer Hour.